Hello and welcome to Inside the Majors. I am Matt Gilder. I own Unorthodox. This is an Unorthodox takeover. I would like to welcome you to Inside the Majors for our Q2, our showdown, last qualifying session of the weekend. I'd like to introduce a few people that you guys might know. I'd like to introduce two of the competition committee members, John King and Mike Ouellette. Hello, gentlemen.
Hey guys.
And we cannot forget about our newest member of the majors, or not the newest member, but the newest upgraded member of the majors, Mr. Sar himself, Mr. Kinchlow, Lynn Kinchlow. Hello.
Hello. How are y'all?
And we have a few guests. We have at least one guest that is here. We might have another guest. We have special guest Dallas Pataska. Hello, Dallas. How are you?
How's it going, guys? Glad to be here.
All right, so we have already have some guys on track already. Anybody that you guys want to watch real fast in this beginning?
Pick a car, any car, so long as you pick just one car.
All right, well, we're gonna hop on with Mr. Herzog. He's the one that threw down the lap first, so we're gonna ride along with him. First lap was a 39.157.
And currently he's working his way down the backstretch into turn number 3 for the second time. This should be the quick lap if experience prevails in this particular scenario. Gentle clip at the turn 4 apex, zooming down the front stretch to complete this second. And he picks up to a 39.081, working on getting the speeds for you at this particular point.
Thing I noticed right away that he is not going down below the white line. He's sticking right at the white line, so that might be hurting his speed just a hair.
Absolutely, for sure. This is one of those qualifying runs we talked about Wednesday. It's a near pixel perfect run that you're going to have to perform if you want to go up into the top split of either the Pro Series or the Sportsman division. Second lap, 39.092.
So to get into top split in America's Pro, you have to average better than 38.94 at the moment.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's...
it's going to be very close.
Oh, go ahead, Lynn.
It's going to be very close to get into that top split. There's a handful of cars that are actually tied with each other in terms of qualifying speed as Herzog completes his run. The fourth and final lap is a 39.088. And if you do the math, averaging out each of the laps in the series with a successful run, you get a speed of 230 miles an hour with a 196.
Pretty good. We're watching Mr. Coley here. Looks like he's going to be on his fourth lap. His best lap was a 38.884. His last was a 38.906. So it looks like he's going to have a pretty good speed. We'll see what he comes across the line for this fourth lap.
Cully is competing in the America's Pro region for Sector 5 racing. This is his second attempt. His previous run was a 2:30.546, and I believe this one will be significantly faster as all of his lap times are within the 38-second bracket.
Yeah, so he should be in.
That puts him at a 2:31.15, and I believe that bumps a couple of cars out that were tied.
That bumps Dick Muller. So next bump candidate is Marcus Tracy. and both of them have gone twice already, so they can't respond.
Well, they could,
Correct,
but it
and
just wouldn't do any good.
Well, there would be positive in that it would be a $3 donation to the charity of the week, and they would take their slowest of the 3 times and go to the back of whatever split that ends up.
Being right.
So not a lot of positives for them.
Yeah.
Super Five's been struggling a little bit on to get pace, and looks like they may have just found it. I saw Bennett posted a good time, and now Cully's come in at the last second, but otherwise they've been having a hard time.
So we're riding around with Stephen Paulson. Looks like he's on his 4th lap. His best was a 38.973 with his last a 39.006. And he's just coming out of turn 4, heading down the front straight.
Yeah, he should make top split for Sportsman no problem with.
And that averages out on that completed run to a 230.679 miles. With that quick time of 38.973, that puts him second within the session for the quickest lap. But as we all know, with the Indianapolis 500, it is an average of 4 laps. But it's a good indicator of see who might have a quick pace, at least partway through their run.
Correct. Right now we're riding around with Mr. Steele, Ryan Steele. He just is coming off, or he's on his lap 1 run, so we're going to watch his full run, see what he can pull. See if he can. I believe this is his first run, or is this his second run?
Ryan Steele is currently sitting on the board with a 230.486. That has him currently sitting 48th overall in the Pro Division for Dog Bear Blue. The first lap is a 39.049. About 230.479 miles an hour.
Also have David Hall on track right now. He's trying to defend his position here at the back of the top 30.
While we're in here, let's go ahead and bring in our guest here, Mr. Dallas Patasco. Welcome back to the. How do you think this qualifying session is going to go at this particular point with the cars that have currently run?
Well, I think you're going to see things pretty much play out how they've already played out. Josh is a pretty competitive guy. He's put down a solid 4. I think that's going to give him a really good starting position for the race tomorrow. Looking at a few of the guys that haven't gone so far, I personally aren't familiar with them, so it's hard to say how this is going to shake down, but it's Indy qualifying, so it's always interesting no matter who's on track.
Absolutely. Steele is starting his 4th lap. Previous laps were a 38.960 and a 38.954. Just creeping ever so slightly into the 231s, but not by much. And I think you're going to have to see a 231 if you want to make the pro split on tomorrow. Working around 3, 4, slightly missing the apex off at turn 4, just barely out of the groove ever so slightly. Coming to the finish line, and he falls off to a 39.016, which will result in an average lap time of 2:30.8. So while he picks up,
Oh, go ahead, Lynn.
sorry. So while he picks up 0.4 of a mile an hour, that's not going to move him very far up the running order. It does ensure him a better starting position in Pro 2.
So watching David Hall here, he's in the 38s. Looks like almost all of his laps have been the 38. His best was a 38.880. Lap 2. Lap 3 was a 38.881. He is on his 4th, coming into turn 3. And he's using every part of that racetrack. He's kissing those curbs.
And this is a second run for him. Entering the session, he was
Oh, he just
30
spun!
steady crash. And we get our first big junker of the evening. just could not make turn number 4, and that car is going to the scrap heap.
Matt, while there's a little bit of a lull here, there's probably some questions you want to ask Mike, isn't there?
Yes, I believe you are correct on that. Let me pull up my question sheet here. Alright, Mr. Olette, are you ready for these grueling questions?
So give me one, and then we're
Okay.
going to watch Matt
Okay.
Santel because he's another Sector 5 driver, and he's right on the bubble as well. And he's quick normally, so it should be really close for him to make it. But go ahead.
Okay, really quick since we're on qualifying, is there any surprises that you have seen in qualifying so far?
No. I mean, Indy qualifying is it just what do you got? What are you holding in your hand? And and then do you know how to use it? So not really. It's surprising, some of the teams that are you can just see it, right? It's they're either struggling or they're succeeding as a group, and it's a tough slug uh, for sure, and that's bearing out.
So we are following Mr. Centel. He is on his first flyer, so we will keep an eye on that. Mike, do we know what splits are looking like right now? I know you guys are probably talking about it since it's now last queue. Do we have any indications?
Well, I mean, obviously it's Indy, so we're trying for 33 in the top splits of each of the regions. We shouldn't. There's no reason we should go under 33 for Pro 1 in either Europe or Americas or the Sportsman region in Americas either. So that should be easy. There's a potential of going above 33, but we just got to see how the numbers play out. It's really close. Depends on how many guys qualify in this session, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks like there was some guys that had not attempted yet, or they were already on their first attempt and got an X, and it did not count. So, yeah, it was kind of surprising how many people that were on the lower of the list that had tried but had the X's. I was kind of shocked to see that.
Something to keep in mind, there is one driver that has already used both attempts unsuccessfully, but has the privilege of a champion's provisional, is Brian Barnes. So that's something to keep in mind, as a lot of people not only have to qualify at least into the top 33, but potentially into the top 32nd, because that past champion's provisional will come into play.
Yep, correct.
Yeah, absolutely. And Santel is flying, by the way.
Yeah, he's gonna be on lap 3. Yeah, this is now his third flyer. 38.874 was lap 1. 38.876 was his last lap. So he is pretty quick. If he's not, obviously he can't be top 9, but he should be. If he would have qualified on Wednesday, he would probably be in the top 9.
Currently, my projection shows him averaging about a 231.25. The last 2 laps were into the 0.5s, but it's all going to depend on this exit of turn 4, making the charge down to the start-finish line, taking the checkered flag, 38.983.
He didn't get a very good exit out of 4, didn't look like, so that's probably where some of his speed scrubbed.
Yeah, that's his only lap within the 230s at a 230.86, but averages out to a 231.23, puts him solidly up into the top half of the field, I would think.
I'm not sure top half, but it's solidly in the 20s in qualifying.
Yeah, as close as everybody is, yeah, it would be interesting to see where that time falls now.
What time did you say, Lynn?
231.233.
So that puts him equal with Kevin Hill, who's 20th at the moment.
Which brings up an interesting moment. Currently, tiebreakers in qualifying are set by practice times. Is that correct?
Yep, that is how we have done it in the past and currently.
Right. So you want to if you want to compare Kevin Hill, who has also made 2 attempts with Matt Santel, Kevin Hill has a 39.303 as his practice time. Santel has a 38.866. So, given the tiebreaker, Santel gets.
Yep, correct. We've been talking about changing that, and I think we for sure will. The tiebreaker mechanism, in a race like this, practice tiebreakers is silly, and it only encourages people to do exactly what we don't want them to do in a practice session anyway. So that doesn't make any sense. So we're thinking about going to either most laps logged in practice, or there was another one, John, I forget.
Damn, I can't remember. It's been a long week.
I heard a rumor to the effect. This is just the czar being the czar, but I heard a rumor to the effect that it would be first come, first serve. Whoever throws the time down
That's
first.
right. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. The person who set the time first would be the tiebreaker.
Yep, that's
Thanks,
right. So I think both of those are really good options. I don't think we could go wrong with either one of those. They're both far better than what we're using currently.
Yeah, but I don't see the bad part about doing or having it the way it is either. So, you could still use all or a combination of one or two, still also.
Well, the problem the problem with the current way is that, as Mike said, it encourages the wrong kind of behavior in practice sessions. Like there was a tie for first place in Europe before the Fast 9 was set, and one of them was a kinetic driver, and so we went out with 3 or 4 cars all running qualifying boosts, and we gave Zhao a massive tow to get him to have the fastest practice lap. So it was a bit, it was more for fun than anything else, and we made sure we didn't interfere with anyone. But it could be, if it was done wrongly, it could be dangerous, and it isn't the kind of behavior we want to encourage for practice.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I agree with that. So
having multiple tiebreakers is not super useful because the number of times you have to use the tiebreaker in general isn't large anyway. So the idea of having to use both of them would never happen.
Right. Yeah, that's true too. So we got Brett Trosen on the track. He is on his second flyer. First lap was a 39.071.
I'm showing him on lap 3, 39.124, and a 39.07.
Oh, yep, you are correct. I was reading it wrong. Sorry. All right, Mike. Back to your grueling questions. How did Charlotte go for participation and just for quality wise?
I thought it was really good. There was a little bit of debate after the race about how good the races were, but I think that died down pretty quickly. I mean, the quality of the racing is always subjective to the individual. I mean, obviously, it could be an amazing race, and if you get taken out, you think it's a horrible race. So that's normal. That's just racers being racers. But I think that in America's Pro for sure, in America's Sportsman 1 for sure, International, those were all really good races. The European splits struggled a little bit. The Pro 2 and for sure did.
Crash.
That's too bad. He's fighting to get into the top split of Sportsman in America.
That was on his lap.
But yeah, overall, I thought Charlotte went really well, and we hit over 200 participants for the 5th race in a row. So all 5 races, we've had over 300 twice, and Indy will continue that streak. So that's the first time we've ever, in all the years we've been doing this, been over 200 that many races in a row. So that's good. It's really good. I was hoping to get to 300 this week. It looks like we'll be a little short of that, but probably around 250, which is great considering I think we had about 180 last year, and last year was the same as this year in the sense that we were going up against the iRacing Indy 500 same week, which is not ideal. People could get fatigued trying to do all of it, but pretty happy with the numbers both for Charlotte and this week so far.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's good to hear that we're still growing, and it's always an encouragement to hear that the numbers are still coming up instead of falling.
Amen to
So
that.
so Buddy Mike here. Do you have any hints or details about next year's schedule yet?
No hints or no detail. We don't know anything. Well, I could tell you three things for sure. You want
Okay.
to know three races on the calendar?
Yeah.
I'll sneak.
If they're crown jewel races, I'm pretty sure.
You are correct. So we
Oh,
will
that's
have
no fun. Come on.
500 and Le Mans will be on the schedule. Yay! No, we don't even start working on the schedule until after June, and the committee doesn't really start working on it until about August. And what that means, what I mean by that is, in June, usually after Le Mans, we'll send out a member survey, and included in that is your guys' picks on the schedule for the following year. We'll give you 100 different race choices that we've kind of curated, and everybody can nominate what they want or pick what they want. And the top 3 vote getters from our season pass holders are automatically added to the schedule for the following year. So that'll give us 7 races. Half our schedule will be determined either by being a crown jewel or by the member selection. And last year that was the Daytona 2.4, Indy Road America, and Bathurst, if I'm remembering correctly, were the 3 vote-ins.
Yeah, sounds right. And you've forgotten Mike's pick as well, Mike.
I've forgotten what?
Oh, your pick.
You've forgotten your own pick.
Oh, I don't know. That's only in case if one particular track gets released. I reserve that right, but otherwise I don't railroad.
Come on, you have to spill it. You can't just run around the track here and not say what it is.
You want me to tell everybody that if Long Beach gets released, that I'm going to force it onto the schedule?
I would hope so because I've been waiting for a Long Beach race. They should have done Long Beach a long time ago.
Long time ago. Yep, it's fits perfectly right there in the beginning of April. Be great race.
So there was a episode early on in the season that there was talks about or feelings about the splits between pro and sportsman. Is there gonna be, if you can say anything about this, is there something about how things are gonna be changed? So about from sportsman getting a pro, or pro being, or some pro guys not saying not deserving to be there, but should be looking at coming down as sportsmen. Is there anything in the talks about that for next year?
Yeah, it would just be real tentative talking, nothing formal. Again, we won't formulate anything official, but if you're asking me my own personal gut feeling, what I would do, having seen what I think the changes that we made this year were really good in terms of splitting sportsman and pro basically into their own championships, and respecting those championships by not mixing the drivers whenever possible. And that's worked great in Americas. That's worked really well for the most part in Europe and international as well. But it's basically perfectly in America so far to keep those separate. And I think that's been a good thing. The what we did this year is that we allowed people to opt up. So you couldn't be in sportsman if your I rating is too high, or if your driver value rating, meaning your performance from the previous year in the majors, was too high. You're not allowed to elect to go down, but anybody can elect to go up into pro. And I had hoped that people would self-select with good self-awareness. My personal opinion is that has not happened. There's a lot of folks that should be running as sportsmen, and whether they think there's a stigma to it or they just want to have the idea of running in pro, I don't know what the reason is. But there's a lot of folks that I think that would have better racing, and it would be more fun for them if they were racing in sportsmen. And so, if it was up to me, and this will be a democratic vote in the committee, but my personal feeling is that if your I rating is at a certain level, or your driver value is at a certain level, we'll force you into sportsman next year. And that way we'll have, we've talked about this in the committee many times. If we really feel like there should be less pro drivers than sportsmen. There should be way more sportsman drivers. There should be more sportsman splits, and that would be in all regions, than pro. And right now, that's not the case. So we have people that still gravitate towards pro. We have a lot of high-end drivers that gravitate towards a series, which is good. We love that. But in all honesty, we've built this series to be really friendly to people of every skill level, and so we've got a long way to go, and to continue to attract people of sub 2,000 iRating into the series, because there's absolutely a place for them, and it could be better than ever. Long answer, sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I know. I think I've heard this out of John's mouth. The window liquor division. Um, John, would you like to explain a little bit more? Because obviously Mike has got a point. It's a really valid point, but I'm a little I'm a little confused on how this new division would work.
Yeah, I wish you hadn't used that term, but one thing one thing we've mulled over is, this year, and particularly these last couple of months, there's been a bunch of new people on iRacing, and quite a few of them have joined the majors. So one thing we've mulled about is that in Americas, because the other two regions aren't big enough, but in Americas we could have a rookie division, under sportsmen. So for the guys that are really inexperienced and and are really on a steep learning curve, and let them have their own race, and maybe even make it fixed, using the new baseline setups, and just give them something which is a bit more than run it the same weekend as the other divisions. So not like the support races, run them full length as well, and just have something where those guys that are uncompetitive in sportsmen in America had something where they could compete with other similar people.
Okay, so it's just like just a little bit lower tier, so you can group those kind of like the beginners that are just now getting into either iRacing or getting into the majors, kind of going, hey, we can all race in this smaller tier. When we're ready, we can jump up to next tier, which would be sportsmen, where we can get more, um, not physical, but get more dogfighty. We earn more skills, and then we can work our way up to pro.
Yeah, and make it a little bit easier for them. So probably run fixed setups, of some description or another, and and give them as much help as we can so that they can improve and get into sportsmen as soon as they can.
Okay, I would totally, that would sound great. I have a feeling that a lot of people, it would attract more people in, if we kind of had something like that to start people out. It's like, hey, let's get your feet wet. We'll put you in here, see how you like it, run a season on this, and then if you want to stay here, you can stay here. If not, or if you've X amount of races, or if you won, or you top 5 in points, or whatever you guys decide, bump them to the next one like they do in the sportsman. I totally agree with that. Dallas, do
Yeah.
you have any objections or comments about that?
I mean, overall, I think it's a great idea. It allows, with iRacing, there can be a steep learning curve for certain people, and it all just depends on your ability to learn and your capacity for learning. And with something like this, with how many people Majors pulls in for each week, I think it'd be a cool idea. And with the new recently brought upon us Majors Garage stuff, we could potentially set some kind of combination where uh, the baseline plus sets that would be released could be used as a package with that rookie series or something. There's a lot of opportunities that could be used that Mike and John and all the admins could come up with. So I think overall it would be a major benefit, especially for the lower class drivers, the guys that are just entering. It would provide as a feeder system to the other series, and it would allow those lower class guys, those entry level guys, an easy way to get into a competitive and well structured series without having to be blown away by absolute pros and guys that have been on here years longer than them. So overall, a great idea. I'd love to see it implemented, and I would hope that it would be implemented the best of its ability, and I think it would be.
Yeah, I totally agree. So one more thought here, since we're on race weekend, that the international region has already run. Mike and John, would you guys like to kind of give us a rundown of how that went?
Maybe I should do it because I think Mike missed the last half of the race because it's pretty early in the morning for him.
Did he fall asleep in the
The
middle
pro
of it?
race was the pro race was amazing. We had an early caution on like lap 10 or something, and then we had another caution on lap 25, and it looked like it was going to be the normal thing of having cautions every 15 laps. Um, After lap 25, we never had another caution, so we went green for 175 laps, which is pretty amazing. Now, bear in mind there were only 22 starters, um, but it was a great race, and the lead pack of like 10 cars or so um, drove around for 175 laps, um, all pretty much nose to tail, a huge amount of lead swapping, and but at the end there was the people the people that have been doing the best on fuel saving got a little bit of advantage on the last stop when they because they didn't have to stop for as long. So three of them broke away and got like a 2-3 second lead on the rest of that pack, and they went across the line. I think pretty much three abreast. The winner and Will Leslie won.
Right, yeah, I saw some of the pictures. That was a crazy finishes, which is good. The international needs to, not needs to, but they need a. It seems like they're lower for. Um, I'm trying to think here. Just for participation, it seems like the numbers are lower, but it's just I would like to see the numbers get bigger, and hopefully the races that come down to those great finishes will actually attract more people to come run in the international.
Yeah, it's a weird situation because we it is the smallest region by far, um, but if you look over the majority of the races, even last year and this year, the races are often very very good. I think there isn't there isn't much strength in depth in international, but the sort of hardcore of the top 15, 20 pros are very good, and because we all know each other, the racing tends to be very very good as well. So most of the races are extremely good. They just what you haven't got is the guys at the back of the pack, um, going around turning laps. Apart from me yesterday, who I was I'm having a bit of a nightmare of a season, so we won't talk about how I did yesterday.
We'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah, John had a tropical storm come through. Unfortunately, more to do with that than his talent. Obviously, he was. I think he qualified second, so or third. I can't remember now off the top of my head. It's been too long, but you had a really good Fast Nine session. I thought that was pretty cool. But to what you're speaking about with international, Matt, they are just in a part of their evolution, which is where every region goes through. America certainly has done it, where they're just in this little awkward spot where they have almost every race now. They have too many drivers for one split, and it's not too few for two splits because obviously we do two splits, but it doesn't make for the big fields that everybody loves in both the splits. Like the sportsman region has been week in and week out been hovering around 15 to 20 drivers, which again in a sportsman split that doesn't even bother me. I think it encourages cleaner racing, but one of the reasons people sign up for the majors and they like to run these races is for the full size fields, what's realistic, and we want to get to that point. But again, international is just sort of in that growing pains phase where we in the last 2 years we always consistently had one split and it was pretty full usually, but as John would attest, sometimes the racing could be a little messy, especially early in the races. Way better, or it's been good because of all the things that John mentioned. But we just got to keep attracting more people to the region.
Okay, yeah. Which is, it's just it'll take time, but it'll eventually happen.
I
Little
wanted
bit.
to let you know. One, sorry, Matt, to interrupt. I did bring Liam Quinn in as well, so we've got both Liam here and Dallas here to talk about. Um, but I'll let you get to that when you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
think
gonna.
we should jump straight to the garage now.
Yeah, we'll come back to John. John, I know, has a little bit of talk about the support series, but we can try to hit that at the end. Welcome, Liam. Welcome, Dallas. Hopefully, we didn't leave you waiting too long. I know Dallas has been in the conversation a little bit. Liam, hopefully, apologize for taking too long. We have a bunch of people that like to talk in here.
That's quite all right.
So, I know both of you have been helping out with the Majors Garage. Mike, if you want to lead into that, um, kind of explain how or kind of. I know you've explained it a little bit, but kind of explain a little, maybe a little bit in depth, a little bit more, and then kind of explain with Liam and Dallas how you guys have kind of helped out with everything going on. I think we might have lost Mike.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So Liam, he keeps popping in and out. So yeah, Dallas or Liam, if you want, one of you want to start, just kind of explain
Okay,
how
well,
you.
I can give a little bit of a lead in, Matt.
Yeah,
So
that's fine, John.
last last year we had the Majors Toolkit, which was our attempt at providing people with some basic sets that would let them be, you know, safe if nothing else. But it didn't. It The way that we did it was that we basically tried to force all of the pro teams to provide us with baseline sets at different races, and it really wasn't very popular. A lot of teams didn't like it, and it became a grind. And we relied on 3 or 4 people to produce the sets for us, and it was a little bit patchy last year. So Mike Mike's been thinking about this for a while, and a few weeks ago he decided we just need to do this, and so he created this thing called the Majors Garage, and the object is to provide a baseline set for all the races, and also a set which is a bit better than that. So probably the aim would be to produce sets that were good enough to get decent drivers close to qualifying for top splits. Um, Probably not at really specialist events like Indy, but in other events, and certainly in the road series, um, we would hope that the driver sets will be good enough to help people qualify somewhere near the bottom of the top splits. There's a third category called elite, which are basically alien style sets. So the kind of sets that Liam produced for Indy, for Team Talent and Kinetic. Um, but those ones are going to be available on a strictly as and when basis. So it's when the crew chiefs decide that they've got something that they're prepared to release to outsiders. What we don't want to do is cause the crew chiefs difficulties within their teams of trying to making sets available that they build for the teams available to other people as well. So the elite sets are going to be optional for those guys. So everyone that wants to produce a driver set, which is the one which is charged at the moment, um, has to also produce a baseline set. The baselines will always be free to oh no, sorry. The baselines are free at the moment to majors members, um, and we're still debating about how we charge for it on an ongoing basis. But that's about it. So the thinking is we want to produce some sets that will help people participate in the majors in a better way than they can at the moment, building sets for themselves.
Right, which that's
Okay.
a good. excuse me, that's a good thing because some of the independents that don't have access to that stuff can always come and look, and if they want to spend money, they can. If they want to spend the money, they can get the higher sets. If not, at least they can have a baseline to start with and play with.
Yeah, exactly. You know, one of the big comments that we always see is, "Oh, if you're not a member of a team in the majors, you've got absolutely no chance." And it's it's largely true, and this will offset it a little bit. Not all the way. You're still not going to have, you know, the really ultra good sets that some of the teams have got for some races, but you'll have something which you can race with without going to too much effort.
Yeah, at least make it.
Okay.
It'll make it competitive.
Yeah, and the reason that Dallas and Liam are here is that they're two of the crew chiefs that Mike's got involved in this. The others, if I can remember off the top of my head, is Christian, Eric Mickey, Kurt Crum, Brian Bennett, and one more, Joshua Wolf, I think.
Cam Dance as well. Eric
Sorry,
Smith.
yes, and Cam Don. Okay, Matt, you got 10 minutes to get some views from Dallas and Liam.
All right. I want to start with Liam. I want since he's going for three-peat, I want to know what's going on in his head for a little bit. But we're also going to talk about what for the for the garage, the majors garage, what not exactly what it entails, but what are you looking to see when somebody takes your set and runs with it? Are you I'm trying to think how to word this, but I'm assuming you want to make sure you put out a good product, or not a good set and a good product, but if they could win with it, was that something that makes you work even harder for the next set and the next set and the next set, or are you just looking at all the sets kind of being the same?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I kind of had the same thought process because there's two ways you could go ahead with this. There's one way that you could take one of your sets you've got already and slow it down, which I think a lot of the setup shops do. That's their approach. They have their bank of setups and their knowledge, and they slow the sets down. Or what I did is I took the iRacing baseline, and I thought, okay, well, how can I make this better to drive as a baseline, somewhere someone can build off in terms of knowledge and drivability, and provide that for anyone to jump in and just be able to drive safely. And then the faster set, which has some more advanced principles installed in it, makes it faster, makes it more efficient, and you can learn a couple of things and you can build off. And I think that's the better approach for the baseline and the driver sets. As for the three-peat, it's going to be really tough this year. I think this year's going to be even tougher than before. I've got Christian on the same region and the same set as me. I've got Austin, who's come over. He did race in 2018, but he couldn't finish that race. So it's going to be really tough. But I think I can do it this year.
I was gonna say all eyes are on you because you won the last two. You're the favorite to win the three-peat, which I don't think anybody has ever done. Mike can correct me, but I don't think anybody has done a three-peat on a majors race yet. So everybody's got your eyes on you. So no stress. I know John's probably not trying to stress you out either, but this is going to be an interesting race tomorrow.
Yeah, even in official, like this year, just gone is the first year we've had the second time winner. Every other year has been a different winner. It's very hard to win here consistently, and in real life as well, because there's so much that goes into it in strategy, setup, performance, like luck. Even, you know, you could be on the wrong strategy at the wrong time. You could have a wreck in front of you and not avoid it. Just anything can mess it up, especially with the dynamic weather we're on here. Last year we had these huge wind gusts that could just chuck you in the wall at any point. So it's tough.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna move on to Dallas real quick. Dallas. Kind of the same question. Like how is your thoughts and your preparedness on how to do the sets for the garage, and and how are you gonna look forward to doing race by race sets?
So oddly enough, Liam put it pretty much the same I was going to put it. A lot of the other setup shops that are on the market right now pretty much do exactly what Liam said. They have their bank of sets and they slow them down, mainly because it saves a lot of time from doing it the other way, which I prefer for this. And I feel like a lot of the people that'll make use of the content we're producing and will enjoy this too is we take the baseline, do laps of the baseline, and work and create positive progress on the baseline set. Um, and then what I do personally, I'm not sure if Liam does this or not, or who else might do it, but I'll take that and I'll run it in a straight comparison on a spreadsheet that gets included with any data pack I put out that will show you the baseline of the driver set versus the iRacing baseline. So you know with me driving where the setups stand and what the pace differences are. Because even though these setups, the driver ones, they'll be good. Um, they'll be competitive depending on the series. That'll depend on what position will be the target to run it. But at the end of the day, you got to keep in mind, like, you still have to drive the cars. No matter how good the setup is, you'll always have to drive it to some extent. Even, all the pro level sets, they're not easy to drive. And that's why you got to have a good baseline to start from. That's the other part for me with the baseline sets is some of these guys that are coming in do want to learn how to play with setups themselves, but they don't want to buy a done setup. They want to kind of tinker themselves. That's the other part of why I build the baseline plus sets the way I do, because it's a known, safe, uh, almost like a checkpoint or a save point that you can tinker from it and you can adjust it if you want, and you can go back to it if things just go wrong for whatever reason. So it acts as like a safe point for whoever to work from if they want to learn sets as well. So there's kind of two aspects of the baseline sets, and then the driver ones are obviously a little bit more up and up. But
See, I like that you brought up that you actually have a spreadsheet that compares what iRacing would give you compared to yourself. I actually like that idea. Um, and I hope a lot of the crew chiefs will incorporate something along those lines, kind of to prove it's like, hey, this is how much quicker this is compared to iRacing, and then if you want to get the next tier, this is how much quicker, and then quicker for the top tier. So I'm actually
yep.
I'm glad to hear that you're doing that, and I hope that's something that I don't know if Lynn's doing it, but a lot of the other guys can kind of throw something in there, just kind of to show what's happening. And one more question, Dallas. Do you think you have a shot against Liam? I know Liam he's quick, but do you think you have a shot against him tomorrow?
Well, I think we're in different regions, but if we were in the same region, probably not. This is definitely more his style. I'm pretty sure I finished second to him in 2018. But I don't remember. He'd probably take me in the Indy car, but we go back to some other ovals. I feel a little more confident. But just to touch on my last comment, uh, I build all my sets around with the goal of like people between 1,500 to 3,000 I rating. I know we had a mix up with one gentleman who I think he assumed that a baseline setup was going to be better than it was, and like it's not by any means meant for like 5,000 rating guys. Those are driver setup guys. So I just want to touch base. These are built for very entry level setup guys that are very safe. Um, but yeah, it's I'm looking forward to it. Mike's got a good thing going on, and John's helping, so exciting times.
Yeah, I thank every single one of the of the setup builders that are helping with this garage. You guys are awesome. Thank you for taking the time out and helping with this. We have McGreevy on track right now. He's throwing down some quick times. He is on his third flyer. Last lap was a 38.865. He's hoping to gain a little bit more spots in pro region. So, Lynn, take it away.
That last lap puts him currently at a 2:31.570 as his quick lap. Nice smooth entry through 3 and 4. You can see some of the skid marks as other cars have wiped out at that particular point, but no such issues for Brian Mr. Cone McGreevy. 38.872 is the third lap. It's a slight fall off in the second one, but should still be quick in the 231s. And indeed, it is a 231.529. Coming onto this fourth lap, hoping to save a little bit. Nails the apex in turn 3 very well. Sweeps out to the outside of the chute into 4. Almost nicks the curb, but he's able to successfully navigate it. Coming to the checkered flag. And with our late runner, as we have 5 minutes left in the session, 38.975. We'll
Yeah,
put
looks
his
like-
average to 31.22.
Yeah, it looks like we got another late taker. McCall is on track. Looks like he's on his second flyer. First lap was 39.847. As we're watching McCall, John, the support series. I know there was some issues or controversy. Not essentially, there was some issues about some of the way things were being done, and some people had some issues about it. Have you guys kind of figured out like a game plan going forward, and how are things going with the support series so far?
Yeah, we made a couple of tweaks to the rules for the support series after I think Rockingham, and it's improved quite a lot. People were going a little bit crazy in the support series before that, and I think the key was we were giving provisionals for the main events, and so there were a few people that were acting as if it was, you know, do or die in the support series, and causing a lot of wrecks. So we've taken that away, and it's calmed down a lot. We've had some pretty good races since then, so very happy at the moment with it.
That's good. Do you have anything new coming up for support, or are we just kind of got just the same thing going, or we have something new kind of in the works?
No, the support series will continue as it is. What we are discussing now is running some kind of small team event series, just as a dipping our toe in the water for that kind of racing. We're almost at a point now where we can start releasing information to people. Eric Mickey's done most of the work on that. We're just discussing what we think we should have as a schedule and things like that now. So I think that we'll probably make some announcements about it in the next 2-3 weeks.
Okay, that's gonna be good to hear. Or do we know if they're gonna be like short enduros, or are they not gonna be like any longer than like 12 hours?
It'll be these. Certainly, the first ones we do will be 3 hours, something like that. Just, you know, it really is a toe in the water job, but for the moment, we don't want to try and go too crazy to begin with. You know, we've got the big Nürburgring 24 at the end of the year anyway, so we just want something that will help introduce endurance racing and team racing to more people in the majors. You know, we've had brilliant 24-hour races for the last couple of years, but we've struggled to get participation in it, and I think people are scared of jumping straight into that. So we're going to try and give them something to get used to the process with.
Yeah, that sounds like it's gonna be a blast. McCall had a wreck on his second lap, so his qualifying is null and void. 20 seconds left. Dallas, Liam, you guys have anything quick to say before the end of the show?
I personally don't.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep, you're good to go. You're good to go.
All right, cool. I obviously disconnected for a second, but I just want to thank Dallas and Liam and the rest of the crew chiefs that have jumped on board. I will say, going back to the whole garage thing, spending a year, obviously not continuously, but regularly reaching out to the VRSs and the PDSs and the Craig setup shops, to try to form some sort of a partnership, sponsorship, whatever. And I don't know, we were either turned down cold, ignored, or just weren't interested at this time, which was disappointing, to be honest, because we were just trying to get something out there. And when I sort of brainstormed the idea of the garage, I started contacting all of people that I would consider pro drivers, and B, people who are really really good with setups, and good teachers. And to my surprise, I think to John's surprise as well, um, every single person that I approached about it was like, yes, absolutely, I want in. John's been fielding questions from other people, and asking other people if they might be interested in doing it. So there's obviously a need for this, not only from the driver perspective, but I think there's a lot of talented guys out there, who don't have a spot in this, and hopefully that's what we can become. And I hope that, I'm going to be honest. I think and I hope that we're going to build something that rivals all of those guys, and maybe is even better.
Yeah, I'm open to see that. I'm happy this is kind of going in that direction. I myself, just personally, it might take a little while, but I can see this being a good thing. But yeah, thank you to all the crew chiefs and everybody that's helping out with this. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, just to give you a quick. I know we got to close up, but we've only done this 1 week. Literally, we opened it up a week ago, and we've had almost 400 downloads, which is really impressive to me. And that's free setups, paid setups, runs the whole gamut. But we've all been pretty pleased with the start. I think like I said, I think there's plenty of room in this market for it, and I think it's going to serve our members well. And I hope it's something that sticks around for a long time.
So let me guess, 399 of those were Liam's set up for this weekend.
It was the majority, but you'd be surprised. We had a lot of Charlotte setups downloaded, and that's going to just go crazy here this next week.
Very cool. That's good to hear. John, any last minute things you want to say before we shut down the show?
No, just good luck to everyone in the Europe and America's regions today, tomorrow, whenever it is for where you are.
All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'd like to thank Dallas and Liam for stopping by. Thank you guys. John and Mike, thank you for everything you do for the series. Thank you for letting me host. Lynn, thank you for being there for my calculator for this week. You guys are awesome. And with that's it, we are going to wrap it up. So we will see you after. Hopefully everybody has a great race tomorrow. And we will see what's the Le Mans' next race. So we'll see everybody for Le Mans after this weekend. So see you guys later. Bye-bye.